After 15 years as a United States postal inspector, I've investigated mail fraud rings, busted counterfeit postage schemes, and even tracked down cyber criminals using the USPS to move illicit goods. I've stared down federal felons, so I wasn't exactly shaken when Karen Flanders, our HOA president, decided to wage war over a mailbox. It all started the day after I moved into Willow Pines Estates, a quiet, meticulously manicured community with white fences, trimmed hedges, and an HOA charter thick enough to double as a doorstop. My house was at the end of the cul-de-sac, and I had just installed a black cast aluminum mailbox identical in size and shape to the old one, but newer and more secure. I'd even cleared it with the USPS delivery guidelines and ensured it was regulation height and distance from the curb. That didn't matter to Karen. I came home from work to find a bright yellow violation notice taped directly to the box. HOA notice. Mailbox infraction. Your mailbox does not conform to the standard HOA-approved model. Immediate removal required. Fines of $25 per day will accrue after 72 hours. Karen Flanders, HOA president. I read it twice, amused more than irritated. The mailbox had a built-in lock, ideal for preventing mail theft, which ironically is part of my federal job description. Still, I decided to handle it the neighborly way. I walked over to Karen's colonial-style home the next evening. She answered the door in a tennis visor, HOA lanyard around her neck like a badge, and a frown that had clearly practiced authority in a mirror. "Can I help you?" she asked, arms crossed. "Hi, Karen. I'm Daniel Cortez, just moved into 147 Willow Ridge. I got your notice about the mailbox." "Yes, it doesn't match the neighborhood's visual guidelines. We require the brown metal with the engraved numbers. Yours is black. It's standard issue, USPS compliant, and safer for deliveries. I actually work with the Postal Inspection Service." She blinked. "The what?" "The law enforcement arm of the USPS. We handle federal investigations, including mail theft and tampering. I've testified in federal court more times than I can count." Karen looked annoyed. "That doesn't change the aesthetic rules of this community." "No offense, but your rules don't override federal regulations. HOA guidelines can't prohibit or mandate specific mailboxes that are compliant with USPS safety standards, especially not with security features." Her tone sharpened. "I know the rules. I've been HOA president for 7 years. And I've been a federal postal inspector for 15, I replied calmly. "And trust me, the Postal Operations Manual, Section 632 specifically, supersedes your handbook. Tampering with or removing a mailbox is a federal crime. Even trying to enforce an unauthorized standard might violate residents' rights." Karen's face flushed a shade deeper than her mauve blouse. "I was just trying to maintain order." "I understand that, but this isn't a design issue. It's federal infrastructure. I strongly suggest you rescind the notice before this becomes an official complaint." She closed the door without another word. The next morning, the violation notice was gone. So was the threat of daily fines. But Karen wasn't done. A week later, I caught her in the act, snapping pictures of my mailbox with her phone from across the street. She noticed me watching and turned on her heel. 2 days later, I received an email from the HOA board, not signed by Karen, informing me that the board had reviewed the matter and determined that my mailbox was well within acceptable and legal standards. They also noted that, in light of recent guidance, residents would be permitted to upgrade to secure mailbox options. Turns out several neighbors had experienced missing packages and had wanted to switch to locking mailboxes, but were afraid of Karen's wrath. After word got around about my job title, the tide shifted. I even held an informal meeting one weekend to explain federal mail protections and common scams. Dozens showed up. Karen? She hasn't said a word to me since, but she walks a little faster past my house these days and hasn't issued another mailbox notice since that confrontation. I guess she learned the hard way.